What's going on, y'all? It's Malcolm, and welcome to the Loung'n Out podcast. Whether you're joining us for the first time or you're a returning lounger, I'm excited to have you here. For our new listeners, Loung'n Out is a podcast where we dive into a variety of topics that I find fascinating. From video games, fragrances, movies, shows, to comics, all along the way, we'll have engaging discussions and entertaining conversations. And for my returning loungers, welcome back. Your support really does mean the world to me, and I appreciate you pulling up. Whether you're new or returning, I do encourage you to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. Whether you decided to hit that follow button before we begin, in the middle of an episode that catches your interest, or after you listen to what you feel is a fire episode, your support is truly appreciated. Let's keep the conversations going and the community growing. Thank you for being a part of the Lounge Crew. Peace. What's going on, y'all? It's Malcolm, and welcome back to the Loung'n Out podcast. And if y'all have tuned into my last episode, I wanted to thank y'all for doing so because, honestly, that episode meant a lot to me. And it took a lot. I don't want to say it took a lot for me to be vulnerable because it just came out, and just talking about my little booty duty just really brought it out of me. It's hard to believe that it's been 3 weeks since she's passed away, but just want to say that I appreciate anybody who listened to my podcast and hope that you all have tuned into this one, okay, and so on and so forth, okay? So with that being said, you read the title right. Yes, today I'm going to be talking about, I got my first shot at voiceover work, which was equally nerve-wracking and equally cool. It was exciting because that's something that I've been wanting to get into for quite some time because I want to say for the longest time, but it really felt like here within the past few years, I've been having a lot of people tell me that my voice sounds good. And, I don't want to sound conceited when I say that, but, hey, I like my own voice, so so I guess that says something, right? But no, my manager in my department, and I say in my department because I keep getting sent back to the department that I transferred from, but that's another story. But my manager in my department, he's been avid and working on his filming business, basically. He records footage of different things. Say he says even when he goes on vacation, he just records just different stuff. He might go to, say if he's on the beach somewhere, he gets footage of a beach, or wherever he might be, he gets footage for B-roll. And if you're not familiar with what B-roll is, it's whenever you're watching a YouTube video and somebody's talking about, say, the beach, it'll cut to a video of the beach after going down whatever they're talking about with the beach, right? And he does stuff like that. So he wants to put together packs for people to go look up on a website. So if you need B-roll for whatever reason, if you need a B-roll of an amusement park, or again the beach, or whatever you can potentially think of that he's probably been to, that he's probably recorded to create a pack for, that's what he does. And as well as he records events, he's been recording these drifting events, drifting as in Tokyo Drift, cars and shit like that, just sliding all over the track and whatnot. And he approached me because he knew that I've been wanting to get into voice acting. He knows I have a podcast, but he approached me about doing a voiceover for the event that they have. They have a commercial, I guess. A commercial, maybe. Well, okay, so they post the ad or the advertisement of the event on Facebook, and they have whoever announcing that event during that advertisement. And so he approached me to do that, and I think it's several different videos that they're going to have for the event, which is going to be S&P's S&P Drifts Nightmare on Drift Street. It's an event in October, around the Halloween time. And, it's just me announcing, what's going on, what to expect and what to look forward to, where you can find your information and all that good stuff. So I was super nervous, but I was extremely excited because I didn't want to fail and I wanted to give my best. And maybe this could potentially open a new door for me voice acting, and I've been thinking on what type of voice acting, because I think whenever you say voice acting, a lot of people get the impression that it's doing, different voices, like silly voices and stuff like that, which I mean, a lot of it is, and a lot of it isn't. A lot of it is you just, acting, as yourself, reading a line. It's a lot like, Denzel, when he's acting in whatever movie, he's going to do like silly voices and stuff like that, unless the role calls for it. But, that's kind of how it is. If the role calls for, you to be this character that's, big and burly, I don't know what I was trying to do there. Okay. I'm new still. Okay. All right. I need to get some voice acting classes or just acting classes in general. But yeah, no, it's a lot of the times they want you to be yourself and, just bring that character to life essentially. And that's what I want to do. I've watched so many different, animated shows and animated movies, and I've always wanted to be a part of that. Like I'm not like idolizing these people to an unhealthy amount, but like a lot of voice actors that, we see on a day-to-day basis, in different shows and movies, like live action, like Bryan Cranston, he's, I don't say big into voice acting, but, he has some, roles in his portfolio, I would say, or to say the least. J.K. Simmons, freaking J. Jonah Jameson, like he actually voices J. Jonah Jameson in the Ultimate Spider-Man. And I think really any iteration of J. Jonah Jameson since he played the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and he's the voice of the Yellow M&M, and he voiced countless characters on different video games and just different shows like Invincible. He's Omni-Man. Like this dude is, big into voice acting, as well as Keith David. Keith David is the original voice of the animated Spawn. He was the voodoo magician or whatever in The Princess and the Frog. He was Goliath in Gargoyles. I mean, he's now the voice of Zavala in Destiny 2 because the original voice actor, Lance Reddick, he passed away like about a couple years ago. And so I think Keith David was the only person who can actually, take up the mantle because he has such an extensive, resume when it comes to voice acting. I mean, he just has like a, silver tongue. So just all that. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Patrick Warburton. I mean, everybody you could potentially think of when it comes to, voice acting, like even Johnny Young Bosch from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, she's like, what's wrong? He's like, I'm a frog. She's like, of course you're a frog, like the one you kiss turns into a prince or whatever she said. That dude, he's voiced Broly from Dragon Ball Super, right? And he's voiced the main character from Bleach. I want to say Ichigo, if I'm not mistaken, but he's big into like, the anime verse and when it comes to voice acting. So, I mean, I want to be one of those people who, when you think about voice actors, my name comes into the mix, right? And that's just something that, I'm going to have to, work hard to embark on. And it's probably going to be a struggling journey, and it's probably going to be, an exciting journey all the same, who knows? So, I mean, I don't know. It's just something that, I don't know. Again, I've always wanted to do, and it's just, now that I've had this opportunity to do that, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to like, garner something crazy, but who knows? But what I need to do is start practicing more and more and more, even if, I'm not putting it out there, but I need to join communities, you know what I mean? And start, networking through those communities and see if anybody knows of any openings for whatever, and like, audition or whatever the case may be. Somebody who knows somebody who can get you whatever you're looking for. And again, take classes and eventually work on building a website so that when, I have clients and stuff that I'm auditioning for, they have something to, reference from. They can go to my website and see, all the jobs that I've done, and, they can see about me and everything under the sun that they would need to know, that could, potentially say yay or nay if they want to hire me for whatever role. And I will say that when practicing for that role, it was stressful, man, because it's not just as easy as just going in there, or not going in there. I was in my room that I'm in now. Just it's not as easy as just sitting there and just reading. It's just like you got to figure out the tone of what you're trying to convey, and then just bring that to life. You got to grab for this situation, for this instance, you got to grab the audience's attention and keep it, you know what I mean? And you got to work on inflections. You got to make sure your energy is high when it needs to be high. You need to know when it needs to be low, like all that stuff. There's all these things you got to keep in mind. And, it took me several, takes. I would get to a certain point and mess up and just be like, shit. And then just scrap it and then redo it again. And something else will happen. I mean, shoot. I locked the door. I didn't lock it, but I shut the door so that I can kind of get it to be a lot more quiet, because that's recommended. To be in a more sound treated environment when you're recording, so that the less noise possible, which you probably hear the TV in the background, but it's all good because, honestly, I just sat down and started recording. I really was just testing out something while I pressed record, and I just took off. So, but that said, though, I shut the door so I can, create as much, I guess, or not as much noise as possible. My cat's on the other side of the door, clawing and meowing, trying to get in, because if you got cats, then whenever you close doors, they don't like that shit. So I had to I don't know, figure out something to get the cats to, stay occupied elsewhere while I'm, trying to read these lines and stuff like that. And, it's just a lot of things that were just, I don't know, I don't want to say working in my favor, but I really actually got to give it to the people who can just go in there, just, I don't want to say nail it, but, just do the damn thing for real. Which I guess maybe that is the same thing as nailing it, but just actually really what I'm trying to say is I got to give credit where credit's due for the people who go in there or have been through what I'm going through now. I don't say, I feel like me saying what I'm going through now is I've been doing it for a while, but no, just the whole journey that they've been on is what I'm trying to say. Probably trying for roles and, not getting it, and, all the headaches and all the, uplifting moments and whatnot that they've experienced. And, to the point to where we know who they are today. You know what I mean? And so I'm just saying shout out to all those people, because I really just understood what it took to actually, voice act, I guess, or, do voiceover. And in that regard, and it was just, oof. But it was exciting. And it was when I sent it in and he's like, it's good. I like it. It's like, hell yeah. So I was super excited, just wanted to celebrate. But then I didn't want to say anything to anybody just in case it didn't really work out. So I'm still waiting to hear anything, or whatever. If he, I don't know. I don't see if he's going to add it to the video that he's been editing. But I don't know. I guess I'm just waiting on the final product to see how it turns out. And hopefully, I'm satisfied with it. But if not, that will be motivation to, work hard at it, to, be the best that I can be, to be undeniable in my craft, essentially. And, that's just, I don't know, that's just been a dream of mine for so long, especially after people have just been telling me that, I have a great voice. And not only that, it just feels like, I just have this calling to me to do something more than just working where I'm working, just walking in circle after circle and, just this mundane stuff, you know what I mean? And I just don't feel like that's what I'm meant to do is really, I don't say follow, or I don't really feel like following orders from somebody who you really don't freaking see, and I know I'm talking about my manager, but for the most part, there's a lot of like, I don't say micromanaging for lack of a better word, but like, it's like you don't see your managers, but you feel their presence. You know what I mean? Like not, I don't know. And you just feel restricted, and I don't know, man. I just feel like I'm born to just be free. Not really, I don't say a rebel essentially, but not really just follow the rules of what somebody is, I don't know, who don't even freaking know my name like that, is paying me. You know what I mean? Like, I want people to fucking know my name. I want people to know who I am. I feel like I have something to offer. And, I feel like it's being wasted being where I'm at. And, I'm going to try to essentially use this place to be the stepping stool that I needed to be to get where I'm going. Because, I want to go to school. I need to call some schools and, see about applying so that, I can take some classes to, get me where I'm trying to go to, and amongst other things, but it just feels like, I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about. If you feel like, when you go to work, it's just too boring. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, God damn, this can't be it. This can't be it. And yeah, I mean, I've just been hearing like a lot of videos, just telling you that you need to awaken your inner purpose or whatever, just do what you feel like you have a calling to. And I feel like this is my calling, it just feels like, man, yeah, like I just said earlier, like I just wasted my life away. Even though like you go there, you see people, you say what's up, and you shoot the shit, you just trying to pass time and shit. It just doesn't feel like you're supposed to be there. It don't feel like I'm supposed to be doing that. And yes, if it's what I need to be doing until then, or like in the meantime, then fine, that's fine. As long as I know what my, my goals are, what my, dreams are, what I'm working towards, you know what I mean? Because if I'm just there just without a purpose, then that's what's going to make it even worse. And, I don't want to see who I might become without a purpose. I need to have a purpose, and I feel like this could potentially be my purpose. And so I want to do what it takes to, see that through. And yeah, I'm having a hard time explaining it, and I'm sorry about that, but it's just like, I guess when it comes to like ADHD, man, it's just sometimes like my brain is just like, all over the place. And I think my medication is worn off, and I've been medicated for about going on 3 months now, and it's still in the trial phases, So, I'm just trying to figure out how that works out for me. But I've been watching a lot of videos in terms of, people saying that, ADHD is like a superpower because we function on multiple, planes. We're multitasking in our brains, which is why it feels like our thoughts all over the place, because we're thinking about what to do here and talking and thinking about this not argument, but this conversation there, and just many different things. And I watched this video where this guy described it as like having 1,000 powerful stallions in your brain, and each horse is like a thought. And if you don't tame them, then it could really work against you. But if you do tame it, then you'll be the most formidable person in your field, what have you, ever. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to do. And I've been working towards that. And, I'm hitting a few snags here and there. And, I'll make some progress and experience a little regression, but that's okay. That's what happens. That's part of the progress is you apply some things and to see if they're going to work. And if they don't work, then you discard it and you keep applying what does work until you get to, where you're trying to go to or improve upon what you're trying to improve upon. And that's what I've been doing is really been working on myself. I've been going to therapy every week for the past few months. And my therapist said that she's seen, much improvement. She gives me, tips and stuff like that, gives me podcasts to listen to and all this other stuff. And I try to take, bits and pieces from each podcast and each tip that she provides me to apply it to my life so that I can be the best version of me. I don't want to say the better version of me, but I want to be the best version of me. And the best version of me is doing what I feel like I'm meant to do. Not not being another cog in a freaking machine, not being another freaking number, fulfilling orders. And don't get me wrong, and I'm not knocking anybody who's okay with that, but I'm not. I do feel like I was meant for more. And I want to see this through, not only for me, but my family. But, I just feel like I owe it to whoever is counting on me to be that person who I'm meant to be. And I encourage you all to, look within yourselves and try to figure out the person who you're meant to be. Because, you don't want to have that regret. And I've had enough regret, man. I'm pushing 40. I'm 38. My birthday, I'll be 39 in February. And, I'm Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I mean? Looking back on all the things that I shoulda, coulda, would have done that could have, led to a much different reality. But all those shoulda, coulda, wouldas are in the past. You know what I mean? But, it's up to me to do what I have with the time that I got now. Because, if I just keep just twiddling my thumbs, just expecting something to just, pop up out of nowhere, then, I got another thing coming. So I really need to take action. And, that's what I've been doing. It might not seem like it, but I've really been working on myself, man. And I really have seen much improvement. I used to go to work late every day, had to use time, all the, because at work, we can use our time whenever we need to. It doesn't matter. You don't have to tell nobody, whatever. If you need to leave, if you don't feel like coming in, whatever, you just put in your time, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour to your full shift. All right. And so I was using half an hour to an hour, the 15 minutes, coming in late every day because I was so disorganized because, in a sense, I didn't have any purpose. And since I've been working on myself, I've been getting better at showing up on time to many places, and I've been, taking accountability, for a lot of my actions and whatnot. It's just so many different things that I've been working on, and just tonight, me, 6 months ago, wouldn't have had my lunch together for work tomorrow. Wouldn't have had my clothes together for work tomorrow. So many other things. And then the next morning, I'd be scrambling around trying to get my lunch together while trying to get my lunch together or get my work clothes together and then trying to shower. And then, when you have ADHD and everything starts to become too overwhelming, you get stuck in one place. I don't know if y'all have experienced this, but when you're, say, for me, the shower will be running and I know I need to make my coffee, and I still haven't figured out what I'm going to wear. and there's other things, and I'm just stuck in one spot for like 5 minutes trying to figure out what I need to do, and they call that analysis paralysis, and that's what I would suffer like every single shift, just really just sitting there at some point in one spot, suffering from analysis paralysis. And, since I've been working on, getting my clothes together the night before and getting my lunch together, as well as my coffee and all this other stuff, I'm trying to get in the habit of showering the night before, but it's really like, it's not really a chore to do that. It's more so a hygienic thing, because I feel like if I take a shower at night and then go to work the next day, I kind of feel a lot like, dirty, because I didn't shower that morning. It's like I am so used to showering that morning that if I shower at night, again, I'm going to feel dirty the next day. And then it's just like I'm going to be itching and scrambling to get to get to take a shower that night because, I'm just like, oh, man, I'm going 24 hours without showering, shit like that. So I don't know. I mean, I said all that to say that, now that I've been working on all that stuff or have been working on all this stuff, I feel like the path has been clearing, all the mess that was in the way of me seeing what my path is has been clearing out. You know what I mean? And, it's starting to become more clear. And so, now I can embark on that path, and just really just hope for the best, you know what I mean? And I don't want to say hope for the best, but, I've been looking at things with the glass half full mentality for the most part. I'm not going to say 100% because I still look at things glass half empty, but for the most part, I'll look at it as a glass half full because, shit, I forgot where I was going with this. Damn it. I hate when I do that shit. There's still some things to work on. It's like, my memory and shit. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what I was saying. That's the one thing about this podcast. I'm doing this podcast thing is that I forget what I am wanting to say at the time. Because again, my brain is kind of everywhere. And, but I will say though, I am trying to, I guess, build an in-home, recording booth, and, I'm going to need some extra help to do that. And I don't know if y'all follow me on Facebook, but I've posted that I'm selling fragrances, 10 milliliter decants. If you're unaware of how much 10 milliliters is, each full-size fragrance bottle that you would buy from the store is 100 milliliters for the most part. Some are like 90, but you can get like 50 mil bottles if you want like half of that, if you don't want a full bottle. But anyways, most regular size bottles are 100 mil. And so I divide that into 10 and sell like a tenth of that, right? Or 10% of that bottle. And yeah, each 10 milliliters is about 100 sprays. And so, I figured out the prices and everything. I got all my prices made up. And if you're interested in fragrances, if you want to support the cause of me building my in-home studio and really just trying to help my dream become a reality, I'll leave a link in the description for you all to check out my collection so you can pick out whatever it is that you may want. You can hit me up like, hey, I would like a bottle of this, a bottle of that. And if you buy like 3 or more bottles, I can definitely give you a deal. I can give you like a 14% deal or 15%, whatever. And, hey, you can spread the word and I can give you even more of a deal, right? And all that would go towards like helping me get the proper equipment so that I can, treat the space that I need to, so that I can record how I need to, and, just start auditioning, as well as, provide money for, acting classes and stuff like that, so that, I can embark on this journey. And if y'all can help support me, man, I would greatly appreciate that. All right. Because I really want to do this, guys. I mean, amongst other things, I want to keep the podcast going, and I want to dabble in making music and stuff like that. And I want to again, go to school for like, like audio engineering and stuff like that. So I can like edit my own stuff and, know how to edit, not just, use presets. And, like say if I'm anywhere and having to use a software that I'm not familiar with and need to edit a podcast or some type of audio, whatever, I don't know how to do it, no problem, So, it's amongst other things, you know what I mean? So, yeah, if y'all can support me, I would greatly appreciate that. And I'm calling that small business magnificent. Instead of magnificent, it's magnificent, Mac short for Malcolm. And instead of like a scent, it's like scent like fragrance, magnificent, you know what I mean? So yeah, if y'all can support the magnificent fragrance business, you know what I mean, I would greatly appreciate it. And hopefully eventually you can hear me on shows, commercials, movies, what have you, man. That's the goal. That's what I've always wanted to do. Like looking deep within myself, like, that is exactly what I wanted to do. Like, yes, I wanted to dabble in music, but there's some things that, kind of turn me off when it comes to music. But for the most part, like I want to become like a voice actor, man. I want to, be somebody that everybody knows. Yeah, I don't know, want to lend my voice to you guys in more than one way. And if y'all can support Magnificent, then I would greatly appreciate that. Again, the link will be in the description. That will be, because I feel like me doing that would give y'all something in return, right? You all will get cologne. You all will be able to smell good while, providing, something for me, So that's what I would like for y'all to do. But yeah, this is just going to be a short episode. Just wanted to put the word out there that, I got a nice little gig for voice acting or voiceover. And yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to share that whenever it's together. I don't know. I still haven't. I don't know if it's clear that he will pick me on a particular commercial, but if he does and he does put it together, then I'll give him a shout out. And two, I would post it on my social media. And I think what I'm going to be doing is, creating my brand as well by, filming myself audition for different parts or as well as, just practicing, just if I can start, I guess when I start going to our acting classes and whatnot, I'll try to like document that, and as well as, just make it into like a social media thing, as well as, me, just practicing different scripts and just really just like dialing in to this whole voice acting thing. Who knows? Maybe I'll just be acting in general. I don't know. But yeah, if y'all can help support your boy, I don't know. I just said your boy. But yeah, if y'all can help support me, man, I know I keep saying that, but the thing is, like, yes, I get a few takers, you know what I mean? I get some people who actually like buy stuff for me, but not as much as I would like, you know what I mean? Like I guess I expect people to just start flooding in like, yeah, let me get this, let me get that, da, 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 da. But, if y'all can put the word out there, if y'all don't want it, but somebody that you all know might. So if y'all can put the word out there, I would greatly appreciate it, guys. Okay. So, again, that's just going to be it for this episode. I got to hop in the shower so that I can, be prepared for work tomorrow without scrambling around in the morning. And yeah, I think I'm trying to wake up a little early to try to edit this to put this out there so that like I can be consistent with the podcast every Thursday. Okay. I that's one of my main goals is to, be consistent every Thursday with the podcast, guys. All right. Okay. So with that being said, guys, Make sure to like this on YouTube. I'm just posting it to YouTube right now. Make sure to comment. Make sure to share this, let people know, spread the word of Loung'n out, spread the word of Magnificent, if y'all want to smell good, I got y'all. I got a collection, a pretty, extensive collection that, I can share with you all, man. Granted, you buy it. So, all right, guys. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys, and I will catch y'all in the next one. All right. Peace.